Hello friends, welcome to Tech Recipes. In this video, we are going to build a reactive REST application using Spring Web Flux and PostgreSQL. This is going to be a step-by-step guide, so we are going to follow each and every step required carefully and thoroughly. So before going into building the application, let us try to understand what is a Spring Web Flux is. So in Spring 5.0, Spring added another stack parallel to the existing servlet stack, which is a reactive stack. So what is the difference between reactive stack and servlet stack? So servlet stack is based on the servlet API, which is synchronous and blocking. The problem with the blocking stack is that you cannot scale it very well because it requires one thread per request, and once there are many requests start coming, we quickly run out of the threads. So that is the reason Spring came up with the reactive stack, which is fully non-blocking and fully reactive. So if you have use case where you are going to have a massive number of concurrent connections, then you should choose a reactive stack. So reactive stack has Spring Web Flux, Spring Data Repository, and Spring Security libraries. In this video, we are going to use only Spring Web Flux and Spring Data R2DBC to build our application. So let's get started. So these are the steps that we are going to follow to build the application. Our step 1 is to create a database table on a locally running PostgreSQL database. We are going to create a customer table with only two fields, ID and name. Then in step 2, we are going to create our Spring Boot application using Spring Initializr. Once the application is ready, we are going to import it into the IntelliJ IDEA, and we are going to set up the properties that are required to run the application. Then the step 4 is an important one, where we are going to write all the code that is needed for our application. So we are going to create first a model class, then create a data repository, and then create all the CRUD operations for our application. So let's get started. Now our first step is to create a customer table in PostgreSQL database. I have set up a PostgreSQL database on my local machine, and I have connected to it using dbware as a SQL client. I'm going to simply paste the script here to create a customer table and insert some values into it. So let's run those queries. Okay, the query is executed successfully, and we can see the values are added. So what we have done here is we have created a customer table with two columns, ID and name. ID is a primary key, which is a serial, so the values are auto-generated for ID, and a name is a other field. Now the second step is to generate a Spring Boot project. For that, I am going to the website called start.spring.io, which is a Spring Initializr project. I'm going to keep the most of the values here as a default, and only thing I'm going to change is the artifact. I'm going to rename it to a reactive Postgres demo. I will choose the Java version as 14, which is the latest one. Now we need to add dependencies. So here, instead of using a regular Spring Web, we are going to use a Spring Reactive Web dependency. Also, for database, we are going to use Spring Data R2DBC, which is a reactive relational database connectivity library. Since we are using Postgres, we will need a driver to a PostgreSQL database. Also, I am going to add one Lombok dependency, which is just to reduce a boilerplate code. Okay, with these 4 dependency, I will click the generate. Now we have the base code required for the Spring Boot application ready. Now let us import the extracted project into the IntelliJ IDEA. I'm going to import it. Once imported, we can check the files which are auto-generated for us by Spring Initializr project. The main file is this, which is a Spring Boot application starter class. Then we can also check the POM file, and we can make sure that all the dependencies that we mentioned on the Initializr website, those are added here. If we now try to run this application, it won't run. And the reason for this is in the dependency we have specified Spring Data to DBC. So Spring tries to look for the database properties and tries to connect to the database, but since we haven't specified any properties, it doesn't find any database URL and it fails to start. So now what we need to do is we need to connect to our locally running Postgres database. So I'm going to add those properties here. I'm simply going to paste 3 properties. These are URL, username and password. So URL is pointing to the locally running database that is running on my machine. Username is Postgres and password is a default password, which is a change me. Now I'm going to simply try to run this application, and this time it should run. You can see that Spring Boot application is getting started, and yes, this reactive Postgres demo application is ready. Now so far we have only set up our project structure and we just started and made sure that the project is running successfully. Now we need to get into writing actual code. Now here our end goal is to build a reactive REST endpoints which provide a CRUD operation on our customer table which we have created in the database. So the first step is now we need to create a model class which matches our database table schema. So I am creating a package here named model. I will also add one class named customer. Now this class is going to be mapped to the same name table in the database. So I am using the annotation of Spring Data table, which tells the Spring that this class should be mapped to the table with the same name. We need to also add the fields which are matching to the table. So I will add first ID, and our ID field is integer ID. We also have another column in the table, so I will create a field for that as well, which is a name. Now we usually add a getter, setter, equals and hash code like methods in a POJO clause, but I am going to use here Lombok annotation @data, which will create that code for us, and we don't need to write that boilerplate code. Okay, so our model class is now ready. Now next step is to create a repository. So first we will create a repo package, and in that we are going to create a new interface called customer repository. Now the good thing about Spring Data is that you don't need to write your actual implementation of a repository. You just need to extend an interface, say CRUD interface, and Spring will create a repository code for you automatically. So now while creating this, I am using reactive CRUD repository because we are building a reactive REST endpoint. We need to specify what is your entity. Our entity here is a customer, and we also need to specify our ID. So our ID is integer, so I will provide the integer as a type for ID. That's it. We don't need to do anything here, and Spring will automatically generate actual implementation for us in a runtime. Now next step is to create a controller class. So I have created a controller package, and inside it I will create a new class, customer controller. We are going to use the Spring annotation here, so I am going to use first @REST controller, which will mark this class as a REST endpoint or REST controller. Then we are going to use request mapping to map it to a path called /customer. Now inside this class we are going to use the repository that we created to access our table in the database. So I'm going to inject customer repository here. Now we are going to implement REST endpoints. So before we start implementing it, I will show you the REST client that I'm going to use. I'm going to use this Insomnia REST client, and I have set up all the methods here which we are going to implement. First we will implement both the get methods. So one for returning all the customers and one for returning individual customer by ID. We are going to use a get mapping annotation for get endpoint. Now the reactive Spring uses Project Reactor as its dependency. It is built on top of Project Reactor, and Project Reactor provides us with two constructs, Mono and Flux. We use Flux when we are dealing with one or more number of records, and we use Mono when we are dealing with a single record or 0 or 1 record. So since we are going to return a list of customers, we will use here Flux customer. Let's import Flux. You can see it is from Reactor Core Publisher library. Now we are going to use a repository find all method. Find all method returns all the customers from the database. You can also see that since we are using the reactive library or reactive CRUD repository, return type of find all is also Flux. Now let's implement the next get method, which is returning single record. And for this we are going to use a path variable. So I will specify path variable as ID. As I said, we are going to use Mono when we are returning 0 or 1 more record. Let me import the Mono. We'll call this method as get customer, and we are going to use the path variable that has been passed through us. Integer. So here we are going to use the find by ID method of repository, and you can see that this method returns a Mono. I'm going to pass this ID here. Okay, so both the endpoints are implemented. Now after get endpoint, we are going to implement rest of the endpoints, which are post, put and delete. So let's start with post first. For post, we can use a void as well. Here we are going to expect a new customer in a request body. So we are going to use @request body annotation. We will expect a type customer, and we are going to save this using the repository. Now the save, if you look at a save also returns the Mono, so we can actually return here Mono as well. Okay, so post mapping is done. Now let us implement the put mapping. Put mapping is interesting one. Here we need to update the customer, not create a new one. So let's create a method update customer. we will again receive a customer in a request body. However, put is always specific to particular existing customer in the database, so we need to also pass a ID for put in a path parameter. So let's get the path parameter in a variable ID. Okay, now for put we actually need to get the existing element from the database using ID. Then since we need to map that element, I will use the lambda function here and set the name with what we have received in our body, customer.getName, and return that C. So basically what we are doing is we found the actual customer from the database using the ID, and we are mapping it. That in mapping, basically we are converting it to use the customer.getName which we have received in the body. Since we have only one field, that's why there is only one call required. Then let's save this using a flat map. We can save this to using a repository to repository. So we will again call the repository.save and save this customer. So this finishes our put. Now our last mapping, which is the delete mapping. Delete mapping is also straightforward. We will create public void delete customer, and delete also will require a path parameter, so we will use ID here, a direct path variable, and repository dot delete by ID, and pass a ID to it. You can see repository.delete returns the mono of a void, so we can use the same here. Okay, so this way we have implemented all the get, post and put, delete endpoints. Now let us test this by running this. So I'm going to run it, and then we will test it from a Insomnia REST client. Now we are going to test first get endpoint. So get customer endpoint. Let's send a request, and you can see that it returned the two customers which we created when we set up the database, foo and bar. Let us create a new customer now. I am going to create a new customer using the post endpoint. I am passing the name as a webflux here, and you can see that the post endpoint got successful, and it returned a new ID 3 for that particular customer. Let's check again a get, and we can see that a new entry is added for a webflux. Now let's test the put endpoint. What we are going to do is we will update this foo with new value, say spring. So I have put the ID for that particular customer there. Let's use the put here, and it is successful. Let's check get, and we can see that it returned the correct value. Now let's try to delete this bar, and I will use the delete endpoint to do that. We are passing the ID of the bar, and there it is successful. We can check it. Now we can see there are only two customers remaining, one with spring, another is webflux. We can check this endpoint as well, where we can get an individual customer, and yeah, it is working fine as well. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to leave the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like.